Greetings everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. We're back again with more Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. This time, continuing with our undead builds. The man, the myth, the legend, the monster, Kestoglyr. He's probably my favorite undead companion that you get. I think he has some great content in the game, and his build is absolutely fantastic. You get him at level 4, which is early enough to do just about whatever it is you want to do with him. So let's go ahead and look at the build he starts out with. First and foremost, he is a fighter, which is very vanilla, in some people's opinion probably even boring, but there's no denying it is highly effective. So he has all the fighter proficiencies, which pretty much means you can equip whatever you like within reason. And he also gets armor training, which means steadily as he levels up, his armor check penalty is going to decrease while his maximum dexterity bonus on armor is going to increase. And then all the way at the end, at level 19, he will get damage reduction 5 flat whenever he is wearing armor or using a shield. Great stuff. He is going to be able to take a feat every single level, which I think he might be the only class that's able to do that, which is really awesome. And then he's also going to get weapon training, which means when you pick a particular weapon group, you're going to steadily get a bonus on both attack and damage rolls with that particular weapon, all the way up until level 20 when you get weapon mastery, which allows you to automatically confirm critical threats with that particular weapon. And it's going to increase the damage multiplier for your crits, on top of which you will not be able to be disarmed when you have that weapon. Just absolutely awesome. And then you're also going to get bravery, which means he's going to steadily get a +1 bonus on will saves against fear that increases as he levels up. Just all around great stuff. Now, he's already selected power attack, great choice. He's already selected double slice, which is fantastic for him because he actually dual wields scimitars, which is amazing, highly effective, and double slice definitely helps him to make the most of it. They don't have a deity selected, but he actually worships Serenre. His background is guard, which gives him perception as one of the skills that he can take. And he also has 2 weapon fighting to immediately help out the attack rolls from using 2 weapons. And then he has weapon focused scimitar so that you know right off the bat what you're supposed to be doing. Not a particularly big fan of him taking combat reflexes, but it's not a bad option. It's going to increase the number of attacks of opportunity he has per round based on his dexterity bonus, and as you'll see, his dexterity bonus is pretty sizable. And with this feat, you may also make attacks of opportunity while flat-footed. Of course, we should be avoiding him being flat-footed whenever possible, but in case it happens, this is there. And with that, let's go ahead and dive into the build. So, at level 4, they say that you should increase strength. I agree, even though both are even, you want to use strength so that you get the most out of your scimitars. And then for skills, he has a rank in athletics, a rank in persuasion. I think that's absolutely perfect. We're going to use him to terrorize the crap out of everybody around us. And athletics is just natural since he's going to be leveling up strength. All right, for your level 4 feat, it says heavy armor focus, but I definitely don't agree with that. So I would say go ahead and pick up Outflank. You all already know how I feel about Outflank. It's fantastic. At level 5, I'd get weapon specialization, scimitar. By the way, even though he starts at level 4 when you get him, the actual level he's at when you pick him up is around 16 or 17. So basically all the way up through 16, you're going to be doing this at one time. And then 16 to 20 is when you actually have to go one by one and level up in order to be able to achieve those particular levels. For weapon training, you want to go with heavy blades, which is where scimitar is. And then for your level 6 feat, take improved 2 weapon fighting. For your level 7 feat, take Cornigan Smash. For your level 8 feat, get improved critical, scimitar. For your level 9 feat, get greater weapon focus, scimitar. For For your weapon training, get effortless dual wielding. The fighter treats all one-handed weapons that belong to the trained weapon group as though they were light weapons when determining his penalties on attack rolls for fighting with two weapons. This is going to make you much more effective when you're dual wielding those scimitars. At level 10, go ahead and pick up Intimidating Prowess. At level 11, get Dazzling Display. And then at level 12, get Dreadful Carnage. For your level 13 feat, go ahead and take Shattered Defenses. Now, for those of you who saw my Ciar build, you're probably looking at this and saying, man, in one party you're gonna have two people who are specializing in fear and shaking enemies. One, I don't think that's really redundant because it's just flat out fantastic crowd control. Two, by going this route, you're able to get access to Shattered Defenses, which means Kestoglyr will also benefit from the things that Ciar does as far as shaking enemies. And then three, he's just clearly flat out built for it. He's going to be steadily leveling up Persuasion, and he's got enough feats where he can easily go into this. And I just don't feel like there's a better use of these fleet slots that he has. You could go ahead and put 4 feats into the cleave line instead, but honestly, I just don't feel like the cleave line is all that great, especially in a party like this. In order to get the most out of cleave, you need to be surrounded by a bunch of enemies, right? Which maybe happens if you're playing on harder difficulties like, core or hard. But then again, if you're playing on those harder difficulties, he may not be able to just take out enemies in a way that lets them just carve through entire groups anyway. But even more importantly, because you're in an undead party, if you're following my build, more than likely the Lich is the one who's going first. And the Lich is going to significantly cut down the amount of enemies you have to deal with before the rest of the party jumps in. Like, it's just doing crazy amounts of damage. So to me, again, cleave doesn't make any sense. You could go blind fight, and that would obviously be of benefit to him, but it's just not as fun to me. I think from a role-playing standpoint, it makes sense that they are running into town and scaring the crap out of everybody they're up against. I prefer doing Kestoglyr this way, but of course you could do whatever you like. And for your weapon training ability, I go ahead and get Trained Initiative. The quicker you can get a jump on the enemies, the better. At level 14, I like taking Greater Weapon Specialization, Scimitar. Then at level 15, I want to go ahead and take Critical Focus. You actually don't need Critical Focus because, of course, at level 20, all of your critical threats are going to automatically be confirmed. But we want a couple of the critical things. We want a couple of the feats that trigger when we do a critical. So we're going to go ahead and take this here. Then at level 16, you want to go ahead and actually we'll take Blinding Critical. At level 17, we'll take Tiring Critical, and then go ahead and take Fighter's Reflexes. At level 18, take Critical Mastery. When you score a critical hit, you can apply the effects of 2 critical feats in addition to the damage dealt. Great, great stuff. At level 19, I'll go ahead and take Exhausting Critical. This is going to allow you to put the Exhausted status on every enemy that you crit. Really, really powerful debuff. And then at level 20, you're going to get Weapon Mastery, of course. You want to select Scimitar. And then at level 20, you can pretty much select whatever you want. You're high enough level and you should have good enough gear where Hammer the Gap might be of benefit to you. You could take Improved Initiative if you want Kestoglyr to start running out there faster. Also note, we did not take Greater 2-Weapon Fighting. I feel like the -10 penalty you take on the final attack just isn't worth it in this build. There are a bunch of other really, really beneficial feats we can take. But if you decided it makes sense for you to have it, just throw on a belt that'll increase your dexterity to 19, and then you'll be able to select it if it works in your build. For me personally, I'm probably just going to go ahead and take Penetrating Strike. It's going to allow you to ignore up to 5 points of damage reduction. Most enemies you go up against have damage reduction in some type, so it's going to help you do a little bit more damage, but not much. Okay, so now that we've went through the character levels, let's go ahead and take a look at the mythic options. At mythic level 1, I'd go ahead and take Thundering Blows. Since you're doing so many strikes, you are going to miss because of course it's harder and harder to be able to hit the more strikes you do, so I think you're going to get a lot out of Thundering Blows. At mythic level 2, definitely want to go ahead and pick up 2-weapon fighting. It's going to reduce the penalties you take on attack rolls when you're fighting with 2 weapons. Mythic level 3, all upfront fighters should have last stand. At mythic level 4, I go ahead and take Destructive Shockwave. Again, you're going to be missing all the time. Kestoglyr has a very high strength ranking. You should be able to get a lot out of this. At mythic level 5, I take Leading Strike. Note that Leading Strike says every time you hit a target in melee combat, you leave a mark on it. And with him doing quite a few hits, you can definitely get a lot out of it, especially if you combine Kestoglyr and then Delamere striking a target multiple times as well. At mythic level 6, take Improved Critical Scimitar. At mythic level 7, I would go ahead and get Unrelenting Assault. So keep in mind you're going to pick up Kestoglyr probably around level 16, maybe 17. So you're going to be able to take all of these mythic options right from the first time that you get him. And then 8 through 10, you'll have to get regularly. At mythic level 8, I would get Weapon Focus Scimitar. And so even though you have to go a little bit ways further to get level 8, it's very, very few fights you have to do before you pick this up. So basically, you'll be able to get this entire list all at one time. At mythic level 9, go ahead and pick up Mythic Charge. And then for your final mythic option, I would go ahead and get Flawless Attacks. Okay, so now that we're finished with all the levels, let's take a look at the equipment I've given to Kestoglyr. For the boots, it gives him a +1 dodge bonus to AC against demons and 1 additional attack of opportunity per round. The belt gives him a +6 enhancement bonus to both strength and constitution. The shirt gives him a +3 insight bonus on knowledge and lore skills, which is pretty much irrelevant for him. It does also give him a +2 bonus on reflex saving throws, which isn't a crazy big deal, but he has it. He's got a +5 on heavy armor full plate. And then he also gets a +4 to his natural armor from the necklace. You could forego this if you had bark skin or some other way to make sure that you increase his natural armor. I didn't bother with that, so that's why all my frontline fighters have some sort of natural armor necklace. And in fact, this was one, this Nat +6, this was the one I was probably using for him. Then we have a helmet that gives him a +4 profane bonus to strength and a +2 profane bonus to AC, very nice. He has the goggles that are going to give him a +10 competence bonus on perception and trickery. That's because in my actual run through, I made him my trickery guy. So you're going to lose, of course, the people you would usually use for trickery, like Woljif or Camellia. So if trickery is important to you, you're going to have to choose one party member and then spec that individual for trickery. For my run through, I did not level up Kestoglyr in athletics. Instead, I chose trickery because you already have Ciar, who's going to be increasing athletics anyway, and his horse is going to be increasing athletics. So you don't really need to put it on Kestoglyr. So I did that because I feel like this makes him the best overall. But as far as making him to fit the best that he can in a team, you might want to replace athletics with trickery and take one of his feats and instead make it a feat that will increase his overall trickery score. Then for the cape, I got the Perilous Shade, which is going to put greater invisibility onto him every time he does a killing blow. Of course, he doesn't do sneak attacks, so this isn't as effective for him as it is for Woljif, but it does make it so that enemies focus on him a lot more and makes it easier for him to stand up on his feet. since you already again have Stalden and Ciar, it's not like you really need him to take over that tank role. It's okay for him to be invisible and really focus on killing enemies. Then +5 Ring of Protection. It's got the Guiding Star, which gives them a +4 bonus to initiative rolls, and it grants all companions a +3 bonus on damage rolls for 1 round when he lands a hit on an undamaged enemy. So cool stuff. And then he has Braces of Harmful Conversion. So anytime he does a critical hit, if the enemy fails a DC of 29, there's a list of different conditions that might potentially happen to them. And then, of course, finally, he's going to have 2 scimitars. So we have the Dawnflower's Kiss. This gives him a this is a +5 scimitar that deals an additional 2d6 holy damage on hit, and then whenever the wielder confirms a critical hit, it grants them a +4 bonus on initiative rolls, as well as 1 extra attack with a maximum attack bonus for 1 round. And it also grants a +2 sacred bonus on damage rolls with the offhand weapon when dual wielding. Obviously, this is an absolutely fantastic weapon for him to use. There are 2 different versions of this weapon. You'll know the quest when you come to it, but I actually have the good version. I felt like, considering the way I was role-playing my Lich, taking the good option made sense. So there are probably different things that the scimitar does if you go ahead and go with the evil version. If you want to see more, I'll leave a link down in the description that walks you through how to get all of the... Actually, you know what? No, it's not even in that video, but you'll probably see it in my Lich playthrough, how I did that quest and what you might want to do differently. And then finally, rupturing. That's what it is. One of my Lich playthrough clips has that. It specifically says something about undead party member find someone important to him, and that'll walk you through what the different options look like. And then for my second weapon slot, I have Rupturing Storm. This is a +4 scimitar, but it deals an additional 3d6 fire damage, and on a critical hit, it creates fire sparks that stick to allies' weapons, granting them flaming enhancement for 1d3 rounds, as well as granting the wielder and allies fire resistance 20 for the same duration. I did find other +5 scimitars, but I just didn't feel like it was as good as Rupturing Storm. Rapscallion is nice, but the secondary effect is it allows you to deal 20d6 fire damage and staggering to all enemies for 3 rounds. If they can't pass a DC 30, I'm not using him to throw fireballs. I want him running into the fight and swinging his scimitar. So while that's nice, it's not really my style. I didn't find something that fit my style more than the +4 version. So I just go ahead and put magic weapon on his scimitar. Just make sure you're using it for the secondary slot, and that'll ensure that he's running with 2 +5 weapons and able to do the things that you would usually want him to do. I went back and forth on the map. I can't get a fight to trigger in a way that allows me to set up and then show you all how he is in a fight, but I think it's already pretty clear. He's got 2 scimitars. He's got a ton of fighting feats. This is a guy that will absolutely be able to step in and wreck shop. So looking forward to hearing your feedback. If there's something you would do differently regarding how I built Kestoglyr, by all means let me know. Otherwise, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like down below, share this content, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.